we're definitely going to be the generation that sees the rise and the unification of Africa. And in today's video, I'm going to explain why. So let's go. My name is Ambassador Tim Ford Jr. of the African Union AUCS, and I've been living in East Africa, Tanzania for almost 5 years, and I help my people invest, rebuild, and return over to the continent of Africa. But today, we're going to talk about why I believe that we are the generation that will see the rise and the unification of Africa. Since I've come over here almost 5 years ago, I've helped and spoken with thousands of different individuals who decided to do the same thing or even attempt to do the same thing. Since I've been over here in 2020, I've been having so many different conversations with so many different people that's actually trying to come over here and build on the continent of Africa. So many of our people are tired of what we've been dealing with in the Western world. We're starting to wake up. We're starting to really see what we can do as a people outside of their environment. For so long, we've been subjugated to having to stay inside of their environment and do what they are telling us to do as a people. But now we have the freedom with the internet and the way information has been spread all around the world. We can really think for ourselves and see what's going on in other regions and the possibilities that are actually on the motherland. So with this new surge of social media and people are actually coming over to the continent of Africa and showing the countries and showing what's really going on the ground, it's changing a lot of people's perspective that want to come over to the continent of Africa to relocate, to repatriate, to move back home, or to come for the first time to where we were stolen from as a people. And not only that, since 2020, there have been several coups over in West Africa, and coups are basically revolutions where people are standing up within their countries and they are sounding the alarm and kicking out the colonialists and saying, like, we are done with what you guys are trying to do. We're not continuing to go along with what you guys are trying to make us do. And we're trying to govern ourselves because we can do it ourselves and we know what to do for ourselves as a people. So these coups or revolutions have literally rocked the West African region. Many of the countries over in West Africa are waking up and starting to see that they do not have to continue to deal with what the French have been putting them under and making them deal with for the past few decades, ranging from Guinea and Burkina Faso even to Mali. The first revolution actually happened in Mali in 2021. And when their revolution happened, they officially dropped French as the official language of their country. And in 2021, over in Chad, their army came to power as well. And in July of 2023, Nigeria experienced a revolution as well. So they stood up as a people and was like, it's time for you guys to go. We're going to govern ourselves. We're going to wake up and we're going to start doing things for ourselves. This has been something that's been in the works ever since a lot of the African countries gained their independence during the 60s. They've been working their way up to this point for a very, very long time. And the west side of Africa were the pioneers of the revolution for our people to gain independence in the 60s. So it's no coincidence that things are starting back on the west side of Africa during our times as well. And we all know what's going on over in Burkina Faso with our brother, President General Ibrahim Traore. He's kicked the French out of his country and he's putting things in place to mobilize his people and give them opportunities. He's one of the brothers who's basically a common sense solutionist. He realized that Burkina Faso was the world's biggest supplier of gold, but it did not have its own refinery in place to even refine the gold. So one of his initiatives that he put in place was to create a refinery and put it in place for his people to have jobs and also to increase the revenue of the country so that the people within the country can benefit from it as well. Ever since Burkina Faso gained its independence, the French has still been in their country taking the resources and not having fair deals in place and taking advantage of the Burkina Faso people and basically taking their resources and not treating the people fairly within their own country. So they stepped up in 2021 and kicked the French out and took over their own country. Now, these fights hasn't been something that's been handed to our people over in West Africa. They had to fight against their own people. They had to fight against the power structure that was in place for them to get to this point. So they've been fighting for a few years. I know many of us in America, we don't have knowledge of this information, but they've been tired of what's going on in their countries since probably as long as us as a people, but they are finally in a position to where they're standing up and starting to lock arms. And now it's starting to be a chain reaction and more countries are taking advantage of the times right now and being bold and standing up and speaking about what's going on to us as a people. For example, the head of state of Niger, General Abdullah Hamani Tiani, strongly denounced the economic exploitation and the pillaging that was going on by the French. He revealed that they had been shamelessly robbing Niger for 107 years. And if they want to come back and be in a good relationship with them, they must pay for at least 65 years worth of the exploitation that they did to them as a country, and stealing their natural resources and not having a fair deal in place and taking care of them as a people as they were stealing their resources. So here's an example, guys. He like, listen, you was in my hood playing with me, robbing me, stealing from behind my back, not giving me out my money for what you was taking from me. And you think we're going to be cool? You think I'm just going to let you come back to my country and you're not going to pay me back what you owe? He like, no, you owe me for 65 years and I need cash money. Don't play. So this is why I think and I know that we will see the rise and unification of Africa, because look at what's going on. Look at what this general is saying and how he's standing up boldly and like, hey, you owe us and stop playing with us. Since we're here, got to show y'all some of the products real quick.
This are natural body ready. Not your body.
Yeah, natural product.
Natural body.
Yeah.
Natural body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come closer. Come. Busy Beachy. I mentioned how it was a chain reaction and how different countries were beginning to see and step up and sound the alarm and speak about what we are dealing with as a people and what we can do as a people. Now let's go over to East Africa real quick. Over in Kenya, President William Ruto recently backed Ibrahim Traore. He was recently in Ethiopia at an event and he said, the global credit rating system has let us down. They rely on flawed models and outdated assumptions, and their whole system is biased, which as a result paints a very untrue picture of the economies here, and it has a devastating effect because it leads to distorted ratings of what the situation really is over here in Africa. And it also leads to over-exaggerated risk of what's going on in the country and over here on the continent as a whole, which in turn leads to very, very high borrowing costs. And he said the time has come for us to rewrite our history and reclaim our narrative and charge the African Renaissance forward. Man, this man stood at the African Union and said this about the global credit system in front of millions of people. He's speaking up and backing Ibrahim Traore over in West Africa and what he's doing. So there's more and more people on the continent of Africa that's standing up, that's using their platform and using their voices to connect us as a people so that we can come together and build and make the Africa that we want over here. Not only do we have presidents and heads of state speaking up and sounding the alarm about what's going on to us as a people, we also have different activists that's on the ground over here that's using their platform and their works to speak up and advocate and work to help us come together and elevate as a people. We have Patrick Lumumba, who's the former director of Kenya's Anti-Corruption Commission, and he's been using his platform to be very, very vocal and sound the alarm about what we are dealing with and what's going on to us as a people. Over in Kenya, he was a strong advocate against what the UN was attempting to do over in his country, and he's been very, very vocal about the forefathers of Africa and how they would feel about what we are doing in terms of pushing the continent forward, in terms of us coming together as a people, and in terms of us stepping up and reclaiming our rights as a people. He's been very vocal. I've seen many of his speeches where he's speaking up and holding us accountable to step up to who we need to be as African people. If you haven't heard of him, please go and check out Patrick Lumumba. He's a gift to us as a people, and he has so much wisdom and knowledge that he's passing down to us as a people. And we also have Julius Malema over in South Africa. He's the founder of the EFF, which is the Economic Freedom Fighters. And he's been very, very vocal about what's going on over in South Africa. So over in South Africa, we have the white South African population, which makes up 7% of the population, and they literally own 70% of the land over in South Africa. So he's been standing up and sounding the alarm and speaking over in South Africa and letting them know, like, no, this is wrong. This is not right. He also has spoken up about some of the murders that has happened in America. Some of the ones have gone viral, that have been spread around the world. He's been very vocal in talking about those type of things and shining light on what we are actually dealing with in America. So as he's over in South Africa standing up against what's going on over there, and can you imagine what they're dealing with if 7% of the population owns 70% of the land? I've heard that the culture is somewhat similar to what goes on in America in terms of the relationship and how things go with them as a people, but I've heard that the vibe is similar. So they fighting the same fight that we are fighting over in South Africa. And last but certainly not least, we have Ambassador Dr. Erikanechi Mborikwa. She's the founder and leader of the ADDI, which is the African Diaspora Development Initiative. And she's been going over the continent of Africa, sounding the alarm and speaking loudly and using her platform in order to bring the entire African diaspora back to the continent of Africa. She's been vocal in helping us invest, helping us learn about the continent, and helping us learn why we were in the situation that we in and what they put us in and what we've been fighting to get out of. She's been fighting for a long time for us as a people. She has a long track record of her actually doing work over in the United States. First, she graduated from Fisk University. Then she went to Meharry College, and now she's doing major things. She's been working with the African Union, and now she has her own organization where she's helping our people return back over to the continent, all the ones who are spread abroad outside of the continent. So she's creating an institutional body that's trying to help us learn the continent, get connected on the continent, and be with the right people over on the continent. So this is why I feel that there will be a rise in unification over on the continent of Africa. And one last reason why I feel that we will definitely see the rise in unification of Africa is because the African Union has an Agenda 2063 in place where at some point very, very soon, they plan to have a One Africa passport. So they're in the process of working on this as we speak. They say by 2030 it should be in place, but it could be soon, it could be further out. But we know for sure there will be a point where the entire Africa will have a one passport. So that's all that needs to be said. That's the icing on the cake. There's also a free trade agreement where our people are able to freely trade across the continent of Africa. For a long time, there have been colonial borders in place that have not allowed our people to go outside of their different countries and move and do business freely the way that it needed to be done so that development can happen on a large scale. So now there's a trade agreement in place where our people are able to move around the continent freely without the colonial bordering things and messing things up. So we have that in place, and we have the One Africa passport coming up, and we have our people that's over here being vocal, standing up, using their platform, using their heads of states positions in order to speak up and sound the alarm. That is why I feel like we will see the rise and unification of Africa. And myself, I'm here using my platform to sound the alarm, to speak up about Africa, to let our people know that we can come back home and build. It's opportunity for us. It's space for us. It's room. And we get real love. I know we were taught that our African people hate us, but that's far from the truth. We've been shown real love since I've been over here for the past almost 5 years. And I don't regret not one bit coming over here and connecting with my people and helping my people. So those who decide to come, this is a great opportunity. Those who decide to stay, figure out how you can change your mindset to figure out how you want to come. But Africa is rising. We're going to unify. We're going to do what we need to do as a people. I feel it in my heart. I see the work. I see the progression. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be some work, but it's worth it. We're building our own. It's worth fighting if you're building your own. So be okay with putting in the work. You building your own. I'm okay. I got my hammer. I'm working. Be okay with that. This is what we're going to have to do as a people during these times in order to see the rise in the unification of Africa. Get in your position, use your gift, use your skill set in order to help progress us as a people and move us forward and let everything else go. So I'm excited to see what you guys think. Do you think we're going to unify as a people? Do you think we're going to rise? Do you think it's time? Do you think it's that season? Let me know in the comment box, please, so I can know what you think and how you feel about how we're coming together as a people. Because me personally, I feel like we rise. I feel like we're uniting. I feel like we actually coming together. So let me know in the comment box what you think so I can have an understanding of how y'all feel out there. And also, Let me know where you guys are tuning in from all over Africa. I love to see which countries are tuning in, who we're connecting with. Even if you're in the Western world, let me know where you're showing love from. I love to see where our people are showing up from and actually tuning into the content. And if you're thinking about coming over to the continent of Africa, I offer a free document with the most important things you need to know before you decide to come over here. This list will give you a clear vision of what you need to do and how you need to prepare yourself in order to come over to the continent of Africa. So if you want that, click the link in the description box and sign up for my newsletter, and you'll be sent the document directly to your email automatically. All you got to do is sign up for my newsletter and you'll get the email. And also, I have a free course for those who are interested in learning how to invest, rebuild, or return over to the continent of Africa. If you're trying to do any three of those, I have a free course down in the description box where you can sign up and take the course and learn exactly what you need to learn to figure out how to invest, rebuild, or return over here to the continent of Africa. So make sure you get that if you're interested. And I also offer consultations for those who are interested in coming over to the continent of Africa. So if you're trying to get some help and figure out how to come over here, click the link in the description box and I'll help you out. We offer Swahili courses as well. So if you're trying to figure out how to come over here and have some Swahili under your belt when you come over here, click the link in the description box and we got you. And if you made it to the end of the video, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I don't take it for granted that you watched to the end. I hope this video was able to bring you some value and you understand that we are rising and we are uniting as a people. It's our time. We the generation that's going to see it. We just got to get to work, stay focused, and keep doing what we're supposed to be doing. Hey, get in your position, stay in your lane, and get the work done. Don't let these people steal your shalom. Peace. Stay focused out there, all right? Shalom.